Hi, I'm Angie Pontani, the burlesque superstar who has spent the last 20 years shimmying and shaking around the globe. I've performed in showrooms, ballrooms, small rooms, and big rooms, every room except a mushroom. Along the way, I've met some amazing people, and I'd like to introduce them to you. Together, we will pull back the curtain to reveal what really happens behind the glitter, feathers, and tassels. So join me for the bump and grind. Today's guest is loved. She's your backstage buddy, a fabulous producer to work for, and just someone who brightens up a dressing room, a phone call, a text thread, even an email chain. Beyond the niceties, she's a New York City staple. Her hustle is part of what makes the Big Apple the epicenter of burlesque, and her story is a perfect New York City story. I'm talking about Calamity Chang, performer, producer, entrepreneur, real job haver, life balancer, and so much more. Get ready to laugh alongside us and learn about Calamity's amazing story of not only being an immigrant in America, but defying stereotypes, turning them on their ear, and serving them up in a whole new way. Please welcome to the Bump and Grind, the Asian Sexsation Calamity Chang. So I am so excited to have you on my show today. And when we were doing research on Calamity, which is always so funny when we do research on the show, and we're like, I feel like I'm spying on people that are my friends. Like, it's weird to Google your friends and be like, oh, I didn't know that. And I think the first thing that I found to be very exciting is that you only started about 10 years ago, and you started it at a club in the city that from like 2007 to 2010, it was called Choreo, and it was like a great hub for burlesque, and I had a show there. But you started there as a stage kitten.
Yes, I did. That was one of my first kittening gigs, and it was special to me because most kittening gigs is just one gig, but that I did Brassy show. Broadway Brassy had a show there called Last Call at the Starliner.
Last Call at the Starliner Lounge, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she would have the same kitten for the whole month. So really, it's like you kitten 4 times because her show's once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt so special to me because it's like, oh, I'm building a friendship or at least some kind of relationship with the same cast, and you got more familiar with the script because the show was all scripted with like live music and different acts. And so you kind of had to know all your cues, when to pick up the rope, when to do this like the blanc blanc kind of thing. So it was really, really cool. It was when I first started, so had no idea that I would do anything more than just kittening. I really just was like, I'm happy just being a kitten. And, I was single, so I had a lot of adventures meeting the various men that came through the burlesque world.
And there were a lot of men that came through Choreo too. Like Choreo was a party scene. So my show there we did 3 nights a week. We did several shows. Yeah. Like on Saturday we did 2 shows. But Choreo was like so fun that I would actually come to your guys' show. I would come to the Last Call at the Starliner Lounge, and it was like this amazing
just hang out?
Yeah, I would hang out. Like now I'm like, oh God. Now I have to drag me out the door with like a freaking, like a grabber. Oh my God. Now I'm like, hang out.
Yeah. Only thing that make me go out nowadays is free food.
Oh yeah.
Booze we usually always get, right? So
yes.
Free food, free booze, or cocaine. That will make me leave the house.
I'll remember that the next time I'm hiring you.
It is something that I heard on your interview with Kitten. I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, she speaks my language.
Oh, Kitten Natividad. That interview was, I love Kitten Natividad so much. Like Russ Meyer girl, burlesque legend, and just like, she lives so unapologetically. Like my face was like burning from smiling and blushing. Nobody has made me blush like that. She made the blowjob symbol.
She did. Oh my God.
The listeners don't see us; they only hear us. But we see each other. And I'm looking at Kitten Natividad, and she said "suck and fuck," and she made the blowjob symbol, and she stuck her tongue in her cheek, and I was just like, and I was interviewing her from my mom and dad's house because I was there for the weekend.
My God.
I was like,
I love that.
dying.
Oh my God.
She's amazing. And she had great advice, I felt, too. So everybody should go listen to that episode. So you started at Choreo, which was a great place to start because it was a great environment for shows. They really supported all the shows there. And especially to kitten in a show that isn't just like, I feel like in the scene, there's so many shows that are like, okay, we're just going to get 5 people, put them together, everybody bring an act. I don't even know what you're going to do. And everybody just jumps on stage and does their thing. But that show was like scripted. You had your cues. It's theater.
Yes, it was. It definitely was theater. I had to read the script before I, did my first show there. So it felt very official. And I felt like, oh my God, it's like the pressure of going to school.
Yeah.
Came back. Like, am I going to perform okay? So yes, that was, and then, of course, Broadway Brassy and I became really good friends.
Yeah.
And we're still, it's a long friendship. So I am very grateful that I ended up being such a fun show and I met a lot of like really cool people there.
And so how did you even get to become a stage kitten? Because I know you have you're like a double agent. You live in 2 worlds. You have a professional job that's real and you fly places and you have meetings and you do things on the computer. This is me talking about a real job. You do stuff.
We have meetings and then there's a water cooler.
Oh, is there really? Oh.
No, our office doesn't have it, but there are like stuff when people use phrases like, let's circle back to that point, or they'll say, I don't have any more bandwidth, which just means I'm too busy this week to take on more projects. But why people don't say that? They say stuff like, I don't have any bandwidth, like we're like batteries or something. It's so like, it's just digital advertising speak that like whenever people say that in the meetings, I have to try really hard not to be like rolling my eyes. I just go, I appreciate you telling me you don't have bandwidth.
Thank you for sharing that useless information. Just do it.
My bandwidth.
So you're living.
Circle back.
You have this straight life where you're running low on bandwidth and circling back. What gets you from there, to this underworld with the underlings taking off their clothes in small bars?
Well, burlesque has always been a dream. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. I don't know. I didn't know what the fuck burlesque was, until the first time I saw a show, which was at Riffi's in the East Village, and it was Little Brooklyn and Creamy Stevens' show. I saw a sandwich board outside that said burlesque show $5. That's how much it used to be. $5.
What was that show called?
It was
Starshine.
Yes, of course. Starshine.
Yes, Starshine. Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was Little Brooklyn that was go-go dancing in the window in like black go-go boots and a black fringy set. And I just remember being like, this looks so cute. So I go in, watch it. And that's when I was like, wow. Then I fell into the rabbit hole and I'm still in the rabbit hole today, like 11 years later.
So you saw the show, you fell in love. Did you say right away, like, I'm going to do this?
No,
like, this is going to be something I do?
I was
So you just started
scared.
going.
I was just like, my interest was piqued. And then I had no idea. I always just was like, there's no way I could do that. How do I even start? I didn't even know where to buy a corset. I didn't even know where to buy, how do you even start an act?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know anything. Cause I had some, stage experience in college and in high school. Like I was in an all-girl improv comedy troupe in college for 3 years. So that was probably the most stage experience I've had. But I've never, I didn't take dance. I didn't take, theater. Or
you had no aspirations for the stage.
No, nothing. Never. Oh my God, as immigrant parents, they would fucking bop me upside the head and be like, you want to be an actress? Are you kidding me? Yeah. You're fucking going to the med school or be a lawyer or whatever.
So you don't get experimental options.
No. I did an English degree, which to them was already kind of like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
So.
That's artsy.
Yeah, it's too artsy. Like, you're going to write a book. You can teach. Teach makes nothing. Anyway, whatever. So. Yeah, so then I saw the show, but it took many more years before I actually signed up at the School of Burlesque to take the Essential Series course with Joe Boobs. And so
it wasn't just a flash in the pan. Like, you saw the one show, you got it, you started to see more. What do you think it was that was really appealed to you?
The glamour, about it? Hands down, is the glamour. The glamour pulls you in, but also is the way that women were making like having fun. It wasn't like, going to a strip club where you're just like watching a girl dance and then try to get more money from lap dances from men, right? Like a burlesque show to me had humor and then the tease. So it kind of leveled out the playing field. It wasn't about getting men to give me money. It was actually fun entertainment for the family. I really felt like.
So finding your style. So you saw the shows, you loved the shows, you fell in love. You started taking classes at the School of Burlesque, Joe Weldon's School of Burlesque.
Yes. I took the Essential series, and I remember very distinctly that Gal Friday had to sub in for her one time. And I just was like, she is so cool.
I adore her.
She is so fucking cool. She's so down to earth.
Yes.
She's just like, there's no like pretension with her. She is like a real authentic person.
Yes.
And I remember it was really cold because it was at the old slipper room and there was no heater on that day and I was kind of getting sick. And Gal Friday lent me her sweatshirt to wear. I was like, ah.
Gal Friday is an amazing performer and she's great at floor work. She's really good at that.
She is amazing.
I'm like,
she really is so amazing.
Yeah.
I know. She's so humble and just like funny. But anyway, so I took that series and then that's how I got the choreo kittening gig. And even then I was like, I'm just gonna kitten because I was so intimidated. Like I was like, I can't dance like the way, like just seemed like such a far reaching idea and goal. And then I got my first booking at Kitty Nights at Femme Appeal.
Yes.
To produce. And that was my first official gig after the student showcase. And then I did a schoolgirl because I was always about playing up Asian stereotypes. And I used Iggy Pop's song, China Girl. That was my student debut showcase. And I did the whole Asian thing. I had like an Asian red pajama set. I got one of those like straw hats.
Oh, girl.
I did the whole thing. Because I was always like, I'm Asian and I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
As you could tell by my name and tagline.
Yes.
And then after Kitty Nights, a friend of mine owned a restaurant in the West Village called Chow Bar. Peter Klein, he offered me, he was like, well, I have a back room. Why don't you do a show back there on Sundays and we'll call it Dim Sum Burlesque? And I was like, love it.
Yeah.
So did that. And then
you started to produce shows like 15 minutes after you stepped on stage.
Exactly. And I know people were like, what the fuck is this bitch? Like she just performed literally once. But honestly, if an opportunity comes, and then people want to make money on Sundays. And it was like $50 plus tips. I don't know if we did tips. Yes, we did tips. Yeah, we did those little red envelopes. And you got a full dinner and drinks. And it was so fun.
That's a deal to me. It's a great Sunday night.
Yeah, it was so fun. So that kind of just was like,
do you think, I mean, because I know a lot of people who come, well, first of all, when you went to the School of Burlesque, and even when, you did Femme Appeals night, you started to do this dim something, were you thinking, like, this is going to become, like, a career? And I know you have two careers and you rock them both. Were you thinking, like, I'm going to ride this train? Or were you just like, I'm just having fun, woo-hoo-hoo? Could you imagine that, like, 10 plus years you would have this body of work? Like, was this the intention?
Never.
Not even when you went to the school. You're like, I'm just here for shits and giggles.
Oh, my God. I think I just felt like I'm curious. It was curiosity. I had no expectations for myself, which is, I think, the key to my own success is I keep my expectations very low for myself. So when I exceeded, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. So a lot of type A personalities would go and be like, I'm going to dominate this. I'm coming in. I'm going to like. But
I think you're type A. You're totally type A.
I know, but I think maybe it's the practical Taurus side of me.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Or I don't know. Because I really I just go, okay, even when it comes to working out, every time I do it, I think you can quit anytime. You can stop anytime. You don't need to finish. Even if you just do 5 minutes, that's fine. And that's the only way I motivate myself is by saying, okay, you can stop anytime. Same thing with burlesque. I was like, I'm just curious. I'm going to go see what it's about. And I met all these cool, wacky people, wacky girls who I love. I feel like our sense of humor is very similar. And then, so then I was like, okay, now I'm going to produce the show. If it sucks, if nobody comes, then I'll stop. I'm not, losing anything, right? And then, so it just kind of kept going and just, one thing led to another. But I do believe in doing my best no matter what I do. But at the same time, I say you can stop anytime. Just, keep your expectations low.
That's a very kind way to treat yourself.
True. You're right. It is.
I mean, that's really,
I'm not into,
you're very thoughtful of yourself. But the thing is, I mean, you say all this, but you don't stop. You take the challenges and you keep going. Like, I'm sure you finish the workouts. You keep producing the shows, right? So you're just lying to yourself.
I'm giving myself a way out. I think that's what it is.
Just in case of emergency.
Just in case.
So you start producing shows. And it works for you. And do you think that, like, having this real day job, coming from a professional environment where there's deadlines and organizations, and you have to, communicate and share information and put things together in a concise way, does that benefit you as you start out in this career and you're producing shows?
Yes, I definitely think having a professional job and my work with professionals has helped me produce shows, because when it comes to approaching venues and talking to them, negotiating with them, like, that's a lot easier because I can understand what their business objectives are and how I can help them and vice versa. And I think the most important thing is diplomacy, learning how to communicate with people you don't know, with coworkers who you're not going to have drinks with, or talk, about inappropriate subjects, like backstage, like, we don't, in the burlesque world, there's no HR. There's no, like, people, like, policing, like, what you can talk about.
I know, you have cocaine on your rider.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's all fine and good. So I think some of that carries over in the way I interact with people, because, just being mindful and thoughtful and managing different personalities, especially when you produce, you kind of have to, like, that's one of the main key things, I think, is knowing how people work differently.
Yeah.
In different situations.
Absolutely. And making it all work together. Since your day job is in marketing, does that help you creatively as well to market your own shows and to know what works and what's hot and what the trends are?
Yes, all the trends.
What's the next big thing?
The next big thing. We're jumping on it. Yes, absolutely. I working advertising, and I do all my promos myself. So I think those skills definitely have helped me being able to just, like, okay, I'm going to do a show. Oh, I'm going to sit down tomorrow and design a poster, send it out, get it done. I think it's an aesthetic thing too, like, it's all like graphic design. And
yes.
It's like designing costumes is my favorite thing to do. Thinking about, musicality, timing, all those things are, I think, in the same vein.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to be able to do all that yourself is really exciting, because then it's just one less thing you have to rely on somebody else to do, one less thing you have to pay somebody else to do, one less thing you have to find somebody who has the same vision as you.
Exactly.
So that's great.
I do really like promoting the idea, like promoting something. So on social media, that's also something I really enjoy doing. It's more like anthropological to me, like, what makes people like one content over another kind of content?
It is interesting. What have you found that they like most of all?
It's different. I mean, I feel like pre-pandemic, people, at least my followers, wanted to see the glamorous stuff. They also like it when I share information about, like, my heritage and background, or, like, cooking Asian foods or whatever, stuff like that. But since pandemic has hit, I feel like people want to see me in more casual settings, like, because everyone knows I'm not performing, I'm not at a stage, and I don't want to share those photos either, because it's just kind of like, well, that happened last year or 3 years ago. Right now, what I'm doing is having a drink in my backyard or something like that. So I feel like it kind of makes you more authentic and relatable, especially for people who don't know you, who don't live or have worked with you. It makes you, like, and especially when you're vulnerable, I think, with your followers, which I'm sure you have tons and tons of followers as well. I think it's a good moment to kind of show who you are outside of being a stage, like, diva.
Right, when all that is stripped away and to still have a structure.
Yeah, because I notice a lot of people don't really have any other online personas other than their burlesque personas, and they're kind of falling flat.
Yeah.
Because there's no show. Well, who are you? Is there another dimension to you? You know,
there are multiple.
It's been very interesting to watch.
Multiple dimensions to Calamity Chang. Have you ever considered? Were you ever lured to leave your day job and go 100% into burlesque? Did that ever whisper in your ear?
Oh my God, all the time. Every single year, I go, oh my God, how cheap should my rent be to do this full time? Right? That's what I always think. But the truth is, I don't want to have roommates. I'm way too old to live with roommates. If I'm willing to have 3 roommates and maybe just pay, I mean, I don't even know. I would have to hustle so much,
so hard,
every single day, just to make maybe like $1,000 to pay rent. And $1,000 means you have like 5 roommates. Maybe way the fuck out somewhere else, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure.
I mean, I might have done that in my 20s, but I didn't start in my 20s, you know?
No.
Like, I started by the time I was like, I need to have nice cooking wear and, like, things like that. So, it was too late.
I found, like, you know, one of my exes, 850 years ago, his mother was in a cult. And it was this crazy.
God.
Oh, girl, it was so crazy. But they had this whole thing, and they called it, like, the triad of life. And I'm not into cults. I don't like groups that all sway in one direction. Like, I was very uncomfortable with the whole thing. But she did tell me one thing once, and she was like, your life has to be a triangle, because you can't just do one thing. You have to feed it from 3 different corners so that it all continues to form a perfect shape. But I always just thought, like, okay, that does make sense. It's like, as an artist, if you can't support your art, your life with your art, you have to support it somewhere else. Otherwise, your art will disappear because you're going to be broke and miserable and living with 500 roommates in Queens.
Exactly. What were the 3 corners that she said?
I don't remember, girl. It was crazy, but there is a documentary.
It's an interesting idea.
It was like, I can't remember what it was. I will have to look it up, but there's actually a documentary. The cult was, I can't remember what the cult was. It was Papa Neutrino was the cult leader. There was a documentary about them. He lived on a raft down by like the waterfront, down by the World Trade Center. And they actually took the raft across the Atlantic. Yes, yeah. It was pretty crazy. But of all the information from the cult association, I do still think of that triangle. And I'm like, you can't just do one thing. You have to do all the things that support the things that you love.
That you want to do. Yeah, it's true.
To keep it flying.
I think you talked about that with Mr. Gorgeous on one of your podcasts. So the other thing I forgot to tell you is that, so during these workouts that I do where I give myself a way out, I have been listening to your podcast.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, because it's like really good. It's helpful for me to not think about how painful whatever it is that I'm doing. And I just listen. And Mr. Gorgeous talked about that too, about just, you know, again, it's about the idea of multiple streams of that revenue, right? Of income. And he's talking about the, you know, I think you guys talked about the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I listen to my podcast when I work out too. Because I'll get the edits and I listen to them when I work out. And I'll be like, oh, I sound like a doofus. Take that out.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Maybe I have. So your story is also unique. Like, not in just the fact that you have this amazing professional job and you hustle so much on the side and you like basically came out of the burlesque birth canal and started producing shows instantly.
Yep, I did. I know,
you know that's unique.
Yeah, people definitely, I know for a fact that there are people who made fun of me. People were like, oh yeah, she can produce a show out of a cardboard box. But you know what? That show is still going on. It's 10 years. And it's one of the most like popular shows. I've met so many people from all over the world who all want to do the show, even though it's just like a small little bar. But I mean, this is not like private secret knowledge. I've posted about this on my Instagram, but I didn't care. I don't give a shit. Like, you know,
what? Because haters gonna hate.
I'll do me. Yeah,
haters gonna hate.
Yeah, I'm sure they were just like, well, why is she getting to produce?
Well, maybe,
whatever.
Yeah,
it's
maybe they should get some, you know, some of your energy and try to do their own show.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's stopping anybody from producing anything.
Yeah, you know? I know. And it's actually, that just means more work for all of us.
You just have to jump in. You just got to jump in.
Yeah.
You know? So I commend that. I think that burlesque has got this total energy. And in the neo times, like in the 90s, that's what it was. It was like, oh, you want us to do a show on top of that sewer grate? Sure thing, no problem. Where can I park the car that we're going to get changed in? Like,
exactly. I mean, and now we're just like, if someone has anything for us to perform, we're all just chomping at the bits, right? Yeah. Because nothing's reopened and
it's
got a cardboard box. Let's do it.
Let's do it. That sounds like amazing. I'll dance in a cardboard box right now. So your story is kind of amazing, and I found this out too. You were born in Taiwan, raised in Bolivia, then you moved to Tampa, and then you moved to Texas. So that's quite unique. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, it's actually just something, I guess it is kind of crazy and weird, but I feel like it's part of the immigrant diaspora story. So you just go where a relative, a distant relative's like, you gotta come here to Bolivia. There's like a lot of money to be made. So off we go. I mean, we left Taiwan because my parents really felt like at some point Taiwan's going to be reclaimed by China, which is already starting to happen. Yes. And they were very worried about war. My dad's older, so I think he's coming from a generation where they were at the tail end of war, right? And so he was like, opportunities are always overseas. Everybody wants to go to America. I know there's a lot of problems with America right now, and I say that with love and critique from someone who is very patriotic, but that there is still a reason why everybody wants to come to this country. This country is still the best. I know people might hate me for saying that, but it really is. As an immigrant, I wasn't even born here. You know, we gave up so much to be in this country because it's still the best country for the best opportunities. Where else can you, as a woman, take off your clothes and say this is art and everyone's like cheering you on? Right? It's amazing. Not in the Middle East. No. Right? That ain't gonna happen. Not in Asia. No way. So anyway, so my dad said, we gotta get to America somehow. And in the meantime, some distant cousin of a relative of blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if they were related to us. They said they were in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. Come, we can get you guys started. So we went there for 2 years, only with the intention of actually staying for like 6 months just to get our visa to the US. Then we ended up staying for 2 years. Wow. And then after that, my mom's like, okay, we can't stay here forever. You and your brother need to get a proper education. So then we moved to Tampa, Florida, because again, some relative was like, come, we'll set you up. So we went. They did not set us up. I think they thought we were really, really rich. Oh, so no. They got us this huge house that we could barely afford. I mean, this is all stuff I found out after I got older.
How old were you when this was all happening?
So Bolivia, I was 11.
Okay.
I was 11 years old then. No, sorry. In Florida, I was 11. So Bolivia was like 8 to 11.
Okay. So this is all old enough to remember these moves. I mean, was that hard? God, yes. Was that hard to move around?
It was. I think when we moved to America, I was really angry because I loved Bolivia. My Spanish was like amazing. And I told my parents, I never want to learn how to speak English. I'm only going to speak Chinese and Spanish.
Take a stand.
Like, okay.
Way to rebel. I was like, girl.
I am withholding.
Mom and Dad, I'm not going to learn a third language. Take that.
Exactly. That's what I said.
You really told them, girl.
I was so mad. And then, of course, you learn English. And we did move around a lot. Then from Florida, we went to Texas. Again, it's the same thing. It was really hard for my dad to find a job because I just don't think the market, there's probably a lot of like racism and discrimination involved against hiring Asian men who don't speak English fluently, even though he even applied for like a grocery bagger and got turned away. It was really tough. It was really tough for my parents.
Yeah, I can't. That is as tough as it can be, and I can't imagine having kids and the pressures of that. You know, you've got your kids, you've got to provide for them, you have to set up this life for them, and then you're just. I know. I mean, Jesus, I cried when I moved freaking 1 mile away from my last place, and my mother was like, "Suck it up! Your family traveled an ocean they never saw their parents again. I was like, you're right.
Oh my God.
But
wow,
I'm
she
sad.
put it in perspective for you.
She did, but I still cried. So I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine the pressures of that, like, being a parent in that time and in that space. It must have been really, it's like really amazing of your parents to do that.
Yeah.
So your upbringing has been completely diverse, different experiences, different places, different cultures. Does that affect your performance?
I've done Asian acts as tribute acts to older Asian legends, like, but they're not famous. Nobody knows where they went. They're obscure. Mei Ling is one person. Obviously, everybody knows Noel Toy and Kobe E and Barbara Young, but I kind of am more interested in the obscure ones that nobody knows anything about.
Did you go off on like a deep research path to kind of find the history of these Asian performers?
I have. So I did one act, a tribute act to just a dancer named Mei Ling, which is like a bullshit name, you know, that's like a made up Asian name for American audiences. So who knows what her real name was. And Janelle, who runs, you know, the burlesque vintage photos
Janelle
on
Smith,
Facebook.
Burley Q-Nell. She's amazing.
Yes,
amazing source of information.
Historian, yeah.
Oh my God.
So she found an ad of Mei Ling performing like in, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of America, and she sent it to me. So I have it framed. It's just like a tiny newspaper ad. It's so cool. Like,
what year is it from? It has to be from the 40s.
It must be. It doesn't say the date. In Minneapolis. And it says, with Joe DeRita, Sherry Everett, Franzel, Bob Winkler, Yvonne and Montaro, stage full of Oriental beauties.
Ooh.
I know. At midnight show every Saturday. She is Mei Ling, excitingly beautiful.
So it was an all-Asian... was it an all-Asian review?
I don't know. I don't recognize none of the other names.
I don't either.
Asian.
No.
So I have no idea. But... anyway, so I did an act to her based on a picture I saw, but that's really it. I have no idea what music she used or what happened to her afterwards. It's a mystery.
Why is it important for you or part of your identity to just your performances pay so much homage to your Asian heritage? Like, and from the beginning you said, like, that's always been a thing, even like when picking your name, right? Like, was it just a natural instinct to be like, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna do? Or were you like, I want to show the audience this, or I want to represent a different style of like an Asian woman on stage? Like, what's the jam?
So I have a perfect answer for that.
Yes!
Because when I grew up in Texas, and Texas is very different now. Texas is much more, I think, inclusive because there's more diversity. But when I grew up there, I definitely fell into the whole assimilation narrative. To blend in, don't stick out. And I thought being blonde and having blue eyes is the standard of beauty. So I always felt really unattractive and really ugly.
Well, it was at that time. We're in the same age zone. That was like the whole thing. It was like, use apricot blush for your blue eyes, you know?
And in Texas, I didn't see that many Asian people. And so, and having moved around all the time, and we always lived in, you know, kind of like economically depressed areas. So we were always the only Oriental family. And I've heard names being, people called me names. Of course, people called me like chink and like all this stuff. This is no big surprise to anybody who is from the same background as I am. So I think I lived for a long time feeling ashamed and feeling really like I don't want to be Asian. And I remember in junior high school, of course, being Chinese, I was forced to learn an instrument. So instead of the violin, luckily, my mom let me choose. So I chose the flute.
Wow.
But I have no musicality in terms of musical playing at all. And I sucked in class. So I was always rebelling in class. If the teacher was keeping time like this, I would do the opposite or do it faster and mess people up. So he called my mom twice and said, she's acting up, blah, blah, blah. So my mom's way of setting me straight, she was like, if you don't start acting like a good student, I'm going to put on a Chinese traditional dress with a name tag that says, I'm your mom, and go to school with you and follow you around all day. Because she knew that would just be so embarrassing to me and so mortifying that like our Asianness was going to be so on display. That to me was like, as a 12-year-old or 14-year-old, that to me was just unthinkable. So that set me straight. But that is mentally where I was coming from. So burlesque really helped me kind of really rediscover that part of me. And also, it's not just burlesque, it's living in New York City, because New York City is fucking awesome. It's so diverse. Nobody bats an eye that you're like not white or like you're whatever, right? Nobody cares. In Texas, we would get stared at. Yeah. But in New York City, you don't get stared at. So I think it's a combination of, coming to New York City for school in my 20s and then finding burlesque. So in burlesque for me, it's also like, how do I stand out? Okay, there's not that many Asian people at the time. I knew like Dami Kuchi Frida, Grandma Fong, not that many Asians. Yeah. So I was like, okay, the way to stand out, the marketing side of me was like, well, I'm going to be Calamity Chang. Also being from Texas, it's a name that's a pun for Calamity Chang, the outlaw.
It's amazing. And you are totally an outlaw. You're totally rebellious.
Wow.
You won't admit it, but you are.
I think we're all rebellious. Everyone who's in burlesque is like,
But we all have different stakes, though. And I think coming from an immigrant family, your stake is a little bit higher. True. You don't have that luxury of being like, I'm going to be rebellious. It's, that's a gift to have that. In a sense.
It did take a long time to figure out how to tell my mom about burlesque.
What did they say? What did your family say about it?
I didn't even know how to, because burlesque doesn't exist as a word in the Chinese vocabulary. If you look it up in a dictionary, they describe it as like taking your clothes off for entertainment, but there's no history, right? There's none of this like historical. Yeah. They basically describe burlesque as like stripping. So when I started producing shows and I was like, okay, this is too big of a secret to hide anymore, I prepped my mom by saying, let's watch some movies together. So I made her watch Gypsy Rose Lee, right, with Natalie Wood, because she loves Natalie Wood. And then my mom was very empathetic to, like, that story. Then I made her watch A Wink and a Smile, because at the time, that was the only documentary in the U.S. about burlesque. And she saw Shanghai Pearl, which I knew that would resonate with my mom, because Shanghai's also an immigrant family from Taiwan. Same as us. And we're kind of near the same age. And so I was like, Mom, look, this is what she's saying. And it was just like, she's very articulate. She's very intelligent. So my mom's like, oh, this is like kind of like an art form. It's not just like working a dingy strip bar and men are groping you. That's what she pictured burlesque as. She thought I was picking up clothes at a strip club.
Right. Well, and if that's the only word in Chinese that relates to it, how could she think anything else?
Right. So then after she saw these movies, then I was like, well, I have a show. Next time you come to New York, I'd love for you to come see it. Oh. And she did. Yeah. So she came and she also, I was also dating Michael, my husband, already back then. And so she felt like, okay, I was safe. Like I wasn't going to be like kidnapped. Right. That's her biggest fear. Like I would get kidnapped off the street of New York.
I think that's every mother's biggest fear.
Yeah, you're right.
It's my biggest fear.
Yeah. Like when I'm picking up clothes at a burlesque show, someone's going to like drug me and then like...
Yes. These are all very valid mom fears.
Yeah. And then she watched the movies. She came to the show. She cried. She was like, I did a fan dance. It was just like very pretty. And I used an old Shanghai song from 1920s because she would know that song. So that's why I was like, okay, this is an easy way to get her in, to see that it was more like, the Dim Sum Burlesque show was more like a kind of like a historic thing. All the music is from the 20s and 30s and very elegant. There's no like crazy dancing, and Brassy sang at the show. Shelley Watson sang at the show. And so that was, then after that, it was like, okay, she went to a few shows too after that.
That's exciting. That's amazing.
It was good. It worked out good. But my dad is not allowed to watch me perform. So if he shows up at any shows, the stageman will have to blindfold him when I perform.
I think that's
And then when I'm done,
enough.
he gets to... Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with that.
That's weird.
Listen,
that's too weird for
no,
me.
it's I can't. No, I can't. I feel the same exact way. My dad, I used to tell him like, you have to leave. You can come to the show, because he would come to our show in Vegas, and I would say, Dad, you can come, but you have to leave like whenever I come on stage. I just can't deal with it. It's and And he did stay. He stayed one night, and it was the worst night to possibly stay because Lady Gaga came. I think I've told this story before, but like she came and
no, I've never heard it.
Oh my god, girl! So it's the one night, and he was like, "Ange, please let me stay. I feel like weird getting up and leaving the show in the middle. I really want to see you perform. I know you're amazing." And I was like, "Fine, you can stay." So it's like the one time in 20 years, Calamity, and I'm like, "You can stay." And so I'm like dancing, and Gaga came to the show that night, and I'm like on stage, and I see like somebody like crawling between my legs, and I'm like, "Why is the stage kitten crawling between my legs?" And I look down, and I see like Lady Gaga looking up at me, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then she like just like put her hands up and grabbed my waist, and then she pulled me down, and then we did this total like improv. Like, oh my god, it was so
like make out session.
Oh girl, we went for it. There was grinding.
Did it get any tabloids the next day?
It did. There were a couple of pictures of like this one part where she was like buffing my butt. Like it was, and all I could think. She was
just hanging out there?
Yeah, well, she had a show, it's at Vegas in the Nomad, in the Park Theater, and she had her main residency at the same hotel that our show is in. And so afterwards, she came to After Dark, which she often does, because the shows run together, because, Brian's her trumpet player, and he's in her shows.
Yes.
So, like, she does often come, and she always does come up and engage, and it's really fun, right? But, like, this night, we just crossed over, and we did this whole, like, real, like, improv duet, and it was amazing. And any other night, I would have been like, wow! But this whole night, I was like, oh my god, this is the first show my dad sang, and I just did a push-up kiss on Lady Gaga. Like, I literally laid on top of her, I rolled down, I gave her a push-up kiss. Like, I was like, my dad's here!
Did your dad freak out?
Like there's this amazing thing. I think that it's like, it was Lady Gaga. So he was just like, that was amazing. And I was
okay, cool. You're like, Dad, wipe that out of your mind.
Yeah, so don't ever let your dad stay because that might happen to you. So. That could happen to you, Calamity. Imagine. Oh, girl, I was like literally like that's all I was thinking in my head. I was like, "Where's my dad? I don't want to look. Where is he? I can't believe he's like, oh my god, I'm dying. Oh, it was.
I can't even.
I was like sweating, literally sweating. But it was fun, and the pictures are amazing.
There you go. It's worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it. So
hopefully your dad was just looking at God.
Oh no, my dad loved it. He was like taking pictures. I was like, Dad, give me your camera. Give me your camera. I'm deleting all those pictures. But like, okay, so you portray all these images. Like let's talk about your Hello Kitty act. Was that one of your first acts?
No, that happened later. But still, I would say in the beginning of my career. Mm-hmm. I felt like I came into it being more, doing more political acts or acts that have a message. And then gradually kind of went, I want to do pretty acts. And then I kind of went back, I want to do latex acts. So I have a range of stuff. And Hello Kitty was something, I heard the song.
What's the
band? Yeah, so it's a parody hair metal band based in LA. They're called Steel Panther. And the song is called Asian Hooker. So when I first heard it, I was like, wow, they're intentionally being like offensive, right? Yes. All their songs are. It's not just about Asians. They make fun of strippers. They make fun of like, everybody. This day and age, I don't know how popular they are, but this is like, 10 years ago, I was like, I love their aesthetic. I thought it was really funny. Then I was like, okay, even if I was a little bit offended by some of their lyrics, I was like, how do I take that and turn it on its head, right? How do I transgress that kind of like tone deaf offensiveness that they have in their lyrics? So I was like, well, who's a bigger Asian hooker? Because there are performers on YouTube who perform to the song, and they're non-Asians who dress up in a geisha outfit, like out of a bag,
really?
Halloween costume. And I was like, okay, that's not cool, right? No. Like, if you're gonna work with an offensive song, you need to like be offensive back, or like how to turn it on its head. So I was like, the most opposite or contradictory image I could think of when you say Asian hooker or something who's a hooker is like super cute Hello Kitty. And at the time, Hello Kitty had just like sold out a franchise to Kimora Lee,
Yes.
who made diamond necklaces out of Hello Kitty. So I just felt like her as not Kimora, but Hello Kitty as an icon is very, very commercialized and being sold out in a way that is very much like prostitution. And so I used that as Hello Kitty. And funnily enough, Kimora Lee came to one of the shows that I was doing. It was not my show. It was Honey Harlow's show at a bar. I can't remember. At Fontana's in the Lower East Side.
Oh, wow.
They were filming her for her reality show. So she came in. Apparently she was super offended by my act. She didn't even wait to see the end to see that it's actually an Asian person inside. Because you have to watch that show, that act for the whole time to get the reveal, right?
Yeah, of course.
So she left in the middle, and I was like, I don't care.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Kimora.
Yeah, I know. She didn't have a sense of humor about it, but it's fine. Like, you know, I don't make acts for her. I do it for myself.
Was it in her reality show, like her storming out of
I have
Fontana's?
no idea. I have no idea.
It would be
never
fun
followed
if that
up with
was.
it. I know. I wonder. I don't think so. You know how these things
Oh,
are.
I do, especially the reality shows. Do you feel that Asian women are portrayed in a certain way in media and on stage, like that there's a stereotyped role that they kind of fit into that you kind of rebel against?
I don't know. You know, people ask that, but I don't really feel like there is. I know that's not the popular answer because I always think, okay, well, is this white woman being portrayed a certain way? And yeah, of course, like blondes are portrayed as being ditzy or like whatever. Sometimes, you know, I mean, I know you're right. I mean, I guess Asian women are sometimes portrayed in a very one-dimensional way, like, you know, either as submissives or like super dominant but I don't think it really affects me. Like, I know I don't like it, or I know I'm not that. But, you know, there's, like, elements of me that are, like, submissive. There's elements of me that's dominant. There's elements of me that's, like, silly. But I just kind of do my own thing. Like, I see it. If I don't like it, I just don't support it, you know?
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, maybe I'm lucky in the sense that I surround myself with people who don't project women of any race, regardless, in any stereotype. So I feel like I don't encounter it. And TV, I feel like has gotten so much better than when, you know, we were growing up.
Yeah.
You see a lot more diversity, a lot of, you know, different types of women. I know when Ally McBeal came out, Lucy Liu got a lot of like shit for being a dragon lady. And when I first started burlesque, of course, I got some trolls on Twitter. Of course, it's an old white man who accused me of, you know, portraying or continuing the dragon lady stereotype. He's like, you should be ashamed of yourself for portraying Asian women this way. And I'm like, that sounds like it's your problem.
Yeah.
Like, you're projecting those ideas onto me. I'm not. I'm doing my own thing. And have you talked to me? Do you know what schools I went to? Like, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Completely.
So that still happens. Like, just even last week, some rando person on my YouTube channel left 2 comments on my videos. One was for my sushi act, and one was a feather fan dance I did that at the New York Burlesque Festival. And they were like, New York doesn't respect Asian women.
What?
Oh, it's a shame. I know. I was like, who the fuck is this? This is like, you just delete shit like that. There is no... Do not engage with people like that because they obviously have nothing else better to do. You know this. This is like showbiz, right? Like,
but it's still very hard not to. It's so hard not to. But there's really no point because somebody who's like staying up at 3:00 in the morning to leave random comments on your YouTube, there's no relevation.
Making general statements like New York City does not appreciate or respect Asian women. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Do you know New York City?
Probably
you
not.
See one thing. He probably is jerking off to my videos and felt bad. And so I was like, oh, you should not be portraying your Asian. Oh, then you tell me, whoever the fuck you are, how I should portray myself.
Please.
However I want to portray myself is my choice. If I want to be dominant, if I want to be submissive, if I want to be a goddamn dragon lady, I will be a goddamn dragon lady.
Emily, do you feel like burlesque offers you the opportunity to do all of the above in any which way you choose?
Yeah, and I just feel like it's also... very like a sticky place because, okay, if you're Asian, if you show any kind of sexuality, you're a dragon lady. So if you don't show any sexuality, then you're a nerd. So it's like, okay, these bipolar structures that Western society has put us in, it's just like so stupid. I'm like so over it.
Is there a response from Asian communities towards burlesque? Like, is there a feeling for that? Like,
well, Asian Americans and then Asians from Asia are very different.
Understand
so I can only speak for the Asian Americans. I've attended the Asian Burlesque Festival that I co-produced with Jen Capet. Our audiences are amazing. Every year it's become better and better. The first year we were both like hiding backstage and being like, well, who do you think is coming to
when
the
did
show?
you start it? When did you start the Asian Burlesque Festival?
So let's see. I have all the posters up on my wall. Let me just look.
I love it. If there's any question about any date or anything, Calamity can just go check on her walls.
Yep.
It's
There
also
it is.
a museum.
2013.
Okay, that was quite a bit ago.
So this year would have been our eighth year, but obviously we had to just like make adjustments.
Yes.
For the pandemic. And so Jen and I would always be like, well, who's coming here? Like peeking through the door. And the first year was like a lot of white dudes with Asian girlfriends, mostly a non-Asian crowd. And then second year was a bit more like different. And then progressively more and more Asian people came. Like I have a lot of Asian female fan base who are like illustrators and artists as well, or dancers. And then last year, oh my God, I almost cried. This girl brought her mom, like grandma, to the show, and they loved it. They were like, taking pictures with me, and just, I was like, oh my God.
Do you think it's just the evolution? Like, is it just the evolution of the festival and it's getting bigger and more popular and people are hearing about it? Or is there something in popular culture that you think is making it more accessible to an audience that maybe wouldn't likely be like, let's go to a burlesque show tonight?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of it is like the older generation, the older Asian American generation are probably like, what? What kind of, is she portraying our culture in the show? Let's go look, And so that's why when I curate that festival, I'm very careful to have a variety of its stuff. So it's not just all like one kind of act.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not like everyone has to do an Asian act because by the fact that their face is Asian is enough. So I think there's a combination of people, the younger generation telling their older generation that like, hey, there's this really cool thing. And that I think people are curious, like, what is Asian burlesque?
Yeah, for sure. Has it changed a lot over the years? Like, when you guys started it, was it small? Was it like one night? Like, how did you get your acts? Was it just like, let's just get all the Asian performers in New York? Like, what was it like putting together the first one?
I'm going to look at my poster to remind myself.
Yeah. Here we go.
So the first year was hard because there's not that many people. And all the Asian performers that I had access to in New York City were in it, like Dame Kuchi Frida, and then Miss Catwings from Hawaii, she came. Minx Arcana, she's been in it a few times. And then gradually it grew because more people started emailing me and reaching out and telling me where they're based. So then we had like Diamondback Annie from LA. Yeah, we had a lot of people from Toronto because there's a big Asian community there too. So it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And now I have like a list of people who are on my dream list to book.
That's exciting. It's got to be exciting to be a part of something like that like really brings the community together, and like not just the burlesque community, but specifically the Asian community in burlesque, which I'm sure all can share a similar thread.
Right. I also find interesting to talk to each person about their own background. Like, how did your parents get here and how different they are? Because some people are not from the same storyline as mine. Some people came from very wealthy backgrounds and they are like crazy rich Asians. Yeah. And they're the rebel who are like, I want to be a dancer and a stripper. Like Coco Ono has an amazing story of her background. She's adopted, Korean adoptee. And so a lot of her work She's like really amazing. She's, you know.
We've had her. Where is she based out of? I can't remember. Right,
LA.
Mm-hmm.
LA. Yeah, she really does like performance art with burlesque. Like I don't know anyone that does that so effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like her acts are always a bit more abstract and performative,
but very beautiful, but not, very fluid.
Yeah, flowy, dreamy. But she's not so abstract, or you're like, what's going on? Or like doing like, you know, like weird dance like moves you don't understand. Yeah, she has a really interesting relation to her background in her work.
You bring a lot of food, specifically Asian dishes, into your work. And I feel like you've been doing this more and more in the past couple of years. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
But like you have
I have been.
What inspired you to get all foodlesque, which is a new word that I learned?
Well, I think at some point in my career, I wanted to explore being funny, which I've always thought is the hardest thing to do. I think it's always easier to be sexy, but being funny and then sexy is I thought it was very difficult. So I love sriracha hot sauce, and I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Gorgeous. We did a trade, so he built me my bottle and my hat, and I've always thought it would be really funny to dance to Drop It Like It's Hot, and combine it with Nelly's It's Getting Hot in Here. So originally, those are the songs I used for my act. But then I quickly found out that I cannot dance to hip hop. It's just so unnatural for me. Like, I don't know how to do it. And then on top of that, Snoop Dogg uses the N-word a lot in his songs. And I also don't feel like that's right for a non-Black person to use any songs with that.
Yeah.
I can bleep it out, but then it's just like, you know, whatever. So then I was like, then Grace Gotham gave me the idea to use Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. Because, you know, if you eat hot sauce.
Bingo.
Yeah. So that's the song that I use now for that act. So once that act started, and it was just so popular, people always wanted me to do that act. Then I was like, well, what other food acts do I like? So then I was like, I really like sushi. I've always wanted to do a sushi act. So Miss Tickle helped me conceive of the costume, and then we worked together on how does it look, and she always makes everything into like a sculptural piece. So Absolutely. She made like more like a sushi hand roll style, whereas originally I just wanted to be like some kind of thing I step in with like the regular roll.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it was like, I want to be noodles because I love ramen noodles. Ideally, I wanted to have a big, like one of those cheapy Asian plastic noodle bowls and take a bath with like noodles. Instead of like a champagne bath, I wanted to do a noodle bath. But, you know, like I remember talking to you about your Hendrix bathtub, and you're just like, it's crazy. You have to store it.
It's a nightmare.
It's just too much. Yeah. So I was like, well, I can't, there's nowhere I can store a bowl.
Yeah.
So we modified it to a couple noodles. So I'm into couple noodles and stuff. So I especially like the food acts because I feel like I'm presenting myself as literally edible.
Yes.
Like you can consume me, right? And also women's body are often throughout history and art history depicted as food. So, you know, from the famous painting of the champagne girl, she looks like the champagne bottle. You know, we're always related to food. Like ads on TV, it's always a woman eating a hamburger, right? Like nobody sees a close-up of a guy going, like this.
No.
It's always a beautiful woman drinking Coke or like eating this big rib. So I kind of wanted to play with that and then come out as being like super relatable and just like funny, like a giant food.
Is it like an exotic consumable in styles of food that Western culture can relate to?
Yes, you said it so perfectly.
Well, I only said it perfectly because I read Forza's paper that we talked about before. Who is this is like, okay, I am a dum-dum. She is like in a master's degree. She's going to extra school.
Yes, extra school.
She's going to extra school and she's studying things.
Mm-hmm. She is like a Dr. Lucky.
Yes, she's a Dr. Lucky, and she did a presentation, right, on and in this, she reflected your performances where she talks about you presenting yourself as consumable to Western audiences with these food groups that are recognizable by these audiences, and you're so consumable and so digestible and so sexy.
Yes. That's perfect. That's exactly what she said. Like when she said it, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Because, you know, like as artists, when we're creating stuff, we don't often have the ability to be the art critic.
Yes.
Right? Like, because as a critic, you kind of have to be able to see it from a non-creation point of view. So at some point, I went to the creation point of view and I forgot how to critique my own work.
But don't you think it's also an organic? There's like an organic element to it. And it's like if you stop and think about it, every time I stop and think, I don't do my act as well. When I just go off my guts, then my act is better. Don't you think it's kind of like this organic regurgitation when you create these things that have so much under context? But it's only our jobs to create them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's good to talk to other people who see things outside of you so they can say, oh, this is what I see you're doing. So I really love what she said. And it was, you know, she feels like I am taking... She says.
Oh, you have it? Oh, Calamity, read it. Please. I tried to read it and record it, and I'm just like, oh my God, these words, I can't. I love it. I appreciate so much people who intellectualize burlesque and the things that they see and the layers of it.
Yeah, me too.
Will you please read it?
Exactly. Oh my God. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I think this is just too long. She
pick out the hot points.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah. So basically, I think she's saying that by me portraying as these edible Asian iconic foods as recognizable throughout the world, that me being the body of an Asian woman, I am very knowingly playing the part of the exotic other to be consumed, but it's all of this is done with a wink and a you
turn it on its ear. You turn it on its ear.
So it's like I know what I'm doing, and I know that you know what I'm doing to you. Mm-hmm. And so she says that this part is very heady. So she says, in doing so, Chang forefronts that both food and sex are experiences based around sensory pleasure and feminized labor that have been co-opted by Western capitalism.
Whew!
Her work doesn't claim to be any kind of authentic reproduction of East Asian culture. Rather, it intentionally pokes fun at the stereotypes imposed on Asian cultures in a North American context. And then she says, I take control of the stereotypes by wielding them in my performances.
Boom.
Through using some of the basic elements of burlesque to my advantage, pageantry, spectacle, parody, and revelation of costuming and the body, Calamity Chang's work actually draws audiences to think about the complex histories embedded in the popularity of Asian dishes in the West.
That's amazing.
Isn't she so smart?
She's so smart, dude. I just want to be like this, like 1 inch of that smart. Like
she is just like, oh my God. I was like, she nailed it on the head. That's why I was like, oh my God, girl, can I use that?
Girl, you have to print that out and put it on your wall. Like, you know. Put it in calligraphy, put it on a scroll, print it, put it on the wall, golden frame, and just read it every day because it's amazing. And it captures your work and your spirit and the essence of the whole thing, which I think...
I know, it really has. I mean, it took a long time for me to really find, like, signature acts, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of performers struggle with. And I feel like you're lucky if you do find a signature act. It's hard.
You have to find your voice, really, you know, with your dance. Really, you have to find your style. You have to find your personality. Mm-hmm. It is easy. And like, listen, I've been doing this for like 20 years and I probably have like 3 or 4 acts that are the acts that people are like, oh, I love it. When
Angie and Rose.
Yeah, Levy and Rose, my bongo. My bongo act. Totally. It's like,
yes.
You know, it's like you create so much, but it's hard to get all the stars to really align and for your message to come through. But to have it come through. Burlesque is such a perfect stage for this, though. There's so much that you can do. It
really is. I mean, I really don't know where else I can do these acts, you know, like that people would be like, okay, well, maybe just take off the stripping.
Yeah.
Is probably what most people would say.
But then that kind of drives it to the next level that I think of turning everything on its ear. The stripping really turns everything on its ear even further because it embraces the sexuality and the feminism and the ownership of concepts of oppression and control. Oh my God. Yeah. I think I learned from Forte.
Forte. I think you've been reading too much.
I think I have too. Calamity, I gotta stop reading. Oh my God. My brain just exploded. Calamity, what is the best advice you've been given, or what's the best advice you could give to somebody?
Oh yeah, fake it till you make it. Grab an opportunity.
Yes, which is great advice. Right? Just do it. Just do it.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. Who am I to give advice to anybody?
Calamity Chang.
What do I know?
You're Calamity Chang.
I guess, I would just say try to explore every style that you want, and then listen to your instincts, and don't sleep with bar managers.
That is very valuable information.
Not that I regret it. I did have a really good time.
What about bar owners? Can you sleep with bar owners?
I've never slept with any bar owners, so,
Yeah.
My husband caught me writing time, and then all that stuff was done over with. So yeah, no.
Saved you from getting kidnapped.
Exactly. Kidnapped, drugged, and kidnap while I'm walking on the street.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So wait, I want to just really quickly too, we're wrapping it up, but you make things. You make food, you make costumes, you make acts, you make art. You also make these amazing earrings. So you make these beautiful dangly feathered earrings with a beautiful rhinestone trim around the top. Where can people get them?
They can get them on my website at calamitychang.com. And yes, I love making them. They're very time consuming because I use Swarovski crystals. I hand place all of them. Lots of people have copied them. Not people in burlesque, but other people in retail stores. No. And it just doesn't compare because they always use very little piece of the feather, the ostrich feather, because that's expensive, and so are the stones. Those are the two most expensive ingredients. But if that's fine. I'm not
Do you make the whole tassel? Do you create the whole
everything?
Oh girl.
Oh my God, it's so time consuming. I even had Michael help me. He was part of the assembly line, but because he's a guy, his hands are just too big.
I call them bear paws.
Dude. See, I call them mitts.
I call them bear paws. I'm like, Brian, I'll be like, help me with the zipper, and he's like, I can't. I'm like, get your bear paws off me. God damn it. Come on.
I'm like, you can rhinestone this, and then his rhinestones are
oh no.
All over the place. I'm like, no, I have to redo these. So yeah, earrings are on my website, and I have a fresh batch up there.
Oh, good. They're beautiful. I have 2 pairs myself that I love.
Thank you so much.
I was going to take them to Vegas, but God damn it, pandemic.
Damn it. God. But you guys are going back, right? Vegas is open again, right?
It's partially opened. They're not really doing the big showroom, so we're not going back yet, but we'll go back. I'm sure we'll be back as soon as it's safe to do so.
I'm sure this is going to go back. It might be slower, but I can't imagine this is the rest of our life.
No, it won't be.
That's impossible.
No, I'm trying to just take advantage of the opportunity to be able to do things like this.
And what Sissy will remember is that that year when mommy's home all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And daddy's home all the time.
Oh, she thinks this is it for now. She told me, I don't want to go back to school ever again. I was like, okay. Calamity, thank you so much for being on the Bump and Grind today.
I had so much fun.
I'm so happy to see you. I had so much fun, and even if you moved to New Hope or whatever, you can't stop performing.
Yes, I will be knocking on your door.
Girl, you're gonna sleep over. You have to come and sleep over. That's it. You come to New York, sleep over. Listen, if you move to New Hope, when I go to visit my parents, I'll pick you up. Yes. I'll take you back here. It's easy.
Produce a show there.
We could do a show in New Hope. Easy. There's actually a place there called Havana's that we almost did a show at several years ago. So look, I have a whole new thing now. Here we go. This is it.
Let's do it. People, half of the cast can stay with your parents, half can stay with mine.
Absolutely. Done deal.
We'll have so much room.
Exactly.
So much room.
It's done. And then we can have a pool party at my parents' and I'll dance around the naked lady statues.
Love it.
Thank you, Calamity.
Thank you. Bye, Ange.
Big love to Calamity Chang for being a part of the Bump and Grind. Follow Calamity on Instagram at Calamity Chang. And as always, come and say hi to me at Angie Pontani. I'll see you on next week's Bump and Grind, where we are guaranteed to get down with another fabulous guest. Until then, like, subscribe, review, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Giant Panda King production. You can find us at giantpandaking.com and on Instagram at giantpandaking.